I can't believe I heard that. That's just. He will downplay the Holocaust. He'll downplay Jewish history in the Middle East and North Africa, and he'll downplay apartheid South Africa just to make his Palestine advocacy sound better. This is the guy that comes up to you. You're in your early 20s, okay? And he comes up to you. He's like, listen, listen. I know they told you in high school that Mandela was all kumbaya and a peace dove, but did you know that he participated in acts of militancy? And they're like, yeah, he did, yeah.
How did it go with Sam Seder? I think if anything, Sam kind of embarrassed himself.
Yeah, he did.
I genuinely do. I hate to say it because I like Sam.
A 40-year-old man who needs a button when he has like a little oopsie moment is actually the one who's talking about Sam Seder embarrassing himself.
Did I button during that debate?
He lowered himself to talk to you man to man and tried to explain to you what was going on.
That's what you asked for. Why would you want to lower his status?
Private, Ethan.
Why did you lower his status?
Because I thought you could be convinced. I didn't realize you were this drama obsessed.
Drama obsessed? We had an argument about South Africa apartheid. What's drama about that?
What?
Dude, listen.
I can't
enjoy
hear what you said. What did you say?
It doesn't matter.
Oh no.
Just remember, when it comes to criticism, I watch it.
Yes,
you ignore
Nelson
it. It's so important.
Nelson Mandela was actually peaceful because you're going to clip chimp the.
He never said he was peaceful, Hasan. You liar. He said that he opposed violence against the citizenry.
I watch it.
Yes,
you ignore
Nelson
it.
Mandela.
It's so important.
Nelson Mandela was actually peaceful because you're going to clip chimp the. That Lonerbox told you.
Hey!
The violent things that
Hasan.
Let's go.
Things that the ANC did.
The funny thing is that he watches. He knows. Okay, maybe he reads my DMs as well. Every now and then, back in the day, a few months ago, whenever Hasan would like believe out of context about me, I would send him the context. Just be like, listen, just for posterity, I'm giving you this. You can do the same to me if you ever think I'm doing the same to you. But he didn't reply. Poor guy. Yeah.
Mandela was actually peaceful because you're going to clip chimp the that Lonerbox.
Wait, what did he say?
It doesn't matter. Just remember, when it comes to criticism, I watch it.
Yes,
you ignore
Nelson
it. It's so important.
Nelson Mandela was actually peaceful because you're going to clip chimp the that Lonerbox told you.
It's funny that he says that because in the clip that I saw, Hasan is the one who's clip chimping in real time. He didn't say Mandela was peaceful, did he? He said this.
His audience thinks I don't know what Gazans felt on October 8th, but toward Hamas. But I can tell you that we have there is a long history of terrorist organizations or so-called terrorist organizations like the ANC or the IRA, even the PLO,
now, Sam,
that ultimately become political organizations.
I think the comparison to Hamas to what happened in South Africa is insanely disingenuous. And I personally hate when people do
Why?
Mandela.
Why would you say the ANC is different from Hamas? By the way, fun stat. In the Nova Festival alone, just the Nova Festival, Hamas killed more civilians just there than the ANC killed in the entire 15 years of fighting against apartheid. And that's one difference. Why? Why?
Didn't think so.
Well, Mandela did think so. He explicitly stated that he avoided committing violence on the citizens because it would make reunification impossible.
Twice they asked
That's
Nelson
something he
Mandela,
said.
if you disavow violence, how will let you go?
See that? Do you see what happened there? Ethan said he avoided violence against the citizenry, he means civilians. But Hasan just heard violence and literally clip chimped in real time.
Africa is insanely disingenuous. The citizenry explicitly stated that he avoided committing violence on the citizenry because it would make
he said on the citizenry, but Hasan didn't hear it because he just heard violence and was desperate for an own against this comedy podcaster who doesn't really claim to be a political commentator. The ANC carried, I think the South African police logged at least 1,550 ANC operations. and they killed about 250 people. Most of the time, they targeted infrastructure. As the violence escalated, they started to also attack military and police targets, like personnel, but there was never their policy to target civilians. And when fighters, because of bad discipline and bad training or bad intel or whatever else, did go after civilians or saw them as collateral, the ANC reined it in. They literally went out of their way to go and send commanders all the way around to all the units to be like, look, this is our policy. This is what we do. This is what we don't do. And it worked. Deaths came down the next year. So thanks for the mention, Bob. Go back to Iraq. What a psycho, man.
And then you're going to say the violent things that the ANC did were in the Truth and Reconciliation Committee attributed to
Hasan, how many civilians died in the 20 years in the ANC during the ANC's?
It was like 200, I think.
Less than 100. How many Hamas? How many?
It was about 250 were killed total. I think most of them were civilians, so it would have been like 100. I think it was about maybe 50 to 100 were militants or police. But yeah, like the reason some civilians died was because some fighters took part in like revenge killings. Other fighters just didn't know the policy very well, like they were poorly trained, because it's apartheid, right? The leaders were. Can we look up the real number? I have the real number from the Truth and Reconciliation. Yeah, hang on, it's here. I took some screenshots. This is from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This is from 1976 up until 1990, so just under 15 years. Before then, they were killing like barely anyone because that was when they were just completely focused on infrastructure. Yeah, 250 plus, just over 250. And if you look at where is it? If you look at the period where they actually did the reining in of the worst excesses, do I have that? Let me see. I don't think I can see it anymore. Maybe this one? 276? It's in one of the appendices. Oh no. This is how many operations they did in the same period, 1,500. So it does show you that even as things escalate, they are still mostly going for non-personnel targets. I don't think I have the stats here though. I believe it was like 70 civilians killed, or 70 people total killed in 1984-85. But then after that, it came down to like 40 a year after they started to discipline people better. Yeah.
People did Hamas kill on one day?
Whoa.
Nelson Mandela, which I'll read you a quote from his trial. I'll read you a quote.
Are you comparing the apartheid structure in South Africa to 76 years of colonial occupation?
Don't you do that all the
76 years? How long do you think South Africa was colonized for, Hasan? How long do you think there was colonial presence in South Africa? Wasn't it like the 1600s? Hang on. You know what? Let's just be quick. I think it was like 1600s. 1652. Apartheid South Africa was 50 years. That's how long that regime lasted. Is he saying it was like what? Is he like downplaying apartheid now because that's the only way he can excuse the what? Like the black population. What did they go through? The Boer War, where the black population were rammed into concentration camps, where the conditions were so foul that a third of them died in a year in the camps. He meant Israel. No, he said, are you comparing apartheid to Israel? Apartheid lasted about 50 years. You had the Zulu Wars. You had like, even in apartheid South Africa after the 40s. In apartheid South Africa, this South African government deported like 3 million something people out of the cities because they wanted to preserve the demographics and shove them into the Bantustans. It was so violent. Weren't the camps in the Boer Wars for the Boers? No, they were partially for the Boers. They were also for black people. Yeah. Yeah, black South Africans were also put into camps as well. And the death rate in the black camps was actually worse than the ones for the Boers. Yeah.
The time?
Are you comparing the apartheid structure in South Africa to 76 years of colonial occupation?
Don't you do that all the time?
If we're talking about colonial occupation, though, like Israel wasn't occupying Gaza and the West Bank until 67. So actually, if you're talking about the apartheid by specifically that line, you'd be going from 67 to today, which is like what, like 50 something years. Yes, apartheid South Africa lasted that time as well, 50 years ish.
No, the number is far larger, and the militancy has gotten far more radical as a direct consequence of Israel becoming far more radical. Because, as I told you,
again, this is, oh god, this point is so orientalist. It's so stupid. This is when people say the violence, like the level of violence, is dictated by the colonizer. That's what it says. The more violent the occupier gets, the more violent Israel gets, then that's the more violent Hamas gets. That's what Hasan is, how his head works. Like the people who are colonized are just cause and effect. They are just bumbling who only are capable of acting as a direct response to whatever is being done to them. But that's not true either. Like, Jewish partisans went through the Holocaust, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, but they didn't target civilians. Jewish partisans generally didn't target civilians. They targeted, like, Nazi weapons shipments and train lines and stuff like that. Like, so people can go through quite a lot of violence and still do less than what groups like Hamas did. Again, he's just depriving completely, like, he's just depriving people of their agency. That's all he's doing.
You seemingly understood when we first had this conversation after October 7 that the maintenance of an apartheid is an inherently violent endeavor. And as a matter of fact, the resistance to said apartheid is only going to get worse and worse as time moves on.
Yeah, but that's no one disagrees with that, you stupid fuck. Like, why does he keep on doing it? He's done this like 3 times now. He's just like straw manning because he's only capable of having the only part, like, I feel like everyone who's not a communist in Hasan's head is just someone who is like, MLK said, I have a dream. And then there was equal right. Yay. And Mandela, he was really peaceful. And then apartheid ended because he was nice. Like, I think in Hasan's head, this is how, like, everyone who's not a communist thinks. No one disagrees that violence escalated in South Africa. We know that it started with infrastructure. Then it started with military action against military personnel. We know that they did actually kill quite a few of suspected collaborators within the black community in South Africa. They did do that. The ANC also condemned necklacing and distanced themselves from that practice. Most of the people who did necklacing were loosely affiliated. They weren't actually like ANC soldiers or MK soldiers. But that's not what the disagreement is over whether or not Mandela and the ANC can be compared to Hamas. And no, they cannot be compared. No. They have different goals. ANC's goals are much more just. They're much more secular, for one. They're much more pragmatic. And the means that they use to achieve those goals are different as well. So they're different on, like, all fronts.
This is precisely the reason why the first Intifada was fought with stones,
you're just bringing random shit up, bro.
And the second Intifada, in the aftermath of horrific acts of terror against Palestinians who were at a mosque praying.
I actually have facts. I have a historical quote. I'm not just grandstanding.
What, so the second Intifada was fought with bombs because Israel was more violent. How does that make sense? Why wouldn't the Fedayeen be the most violent? Because they came just out of the Nakba. The Nakba was worse than anything Israel was doing in the 90s. The reason the first Intifada wasn't as crazy as the second is because in the second Intifada, the Oslo Accords had happened. The IDF had withdrawn from areas that were under full Palestinian control, or at least much more so than before. So with that Israeli withdrawal from Area A especially, gave people, militant groups like Hamas, like Islamic Jihad, much more space, even the Al-Aqsa Martyrs, to have houses where they were building suicide bombs. It was easier for them to smuggle weapons. That's why the second Intifada was more insane than the first one. And also because in the first Intifada, the PLO leadership were in exile. They were in Tunisia, whereas afterwards they had like a government structure, they had a police force and everything, and then they had more funding, they had more institutional capabilities. So within that framework, it was easier for groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad and the Al-Aqsa Martyrs to gather more sophisticated weapons and go into Israel with them. It's not just like, how does that even make sense? Israel voted left just before the second Intifada. Israel voted left. And after Arafat walked from Camp David, the Clinton parameters came and offered even more.
Mandela, from his trial in 1960, said, and I quote, "There were 4 forms of violence that were possible. One was sabotage, one was guerrilla warfare, one was terrorism, and then there was open revolution. We chose to adopt the first method as it exhausted it before taking any other decision. In light of our political background, the choice was a logical one. Sabotage did not involve loss of life, and it offered the best hope for future race relations. Bitterness would be kept minimum, and if a policy bore fruit, democratic government could become a reality.
Hasan's going to probably pretend he's got a gotcha now because ANC actions escalated after this trial in the 70s and 80s. Even though, again, they still mostly targeted infrastructure. The escalation was that they started attacking more like police and security and military people. But okay. And also lots of fighters just kind of like lost control.
Reality. This is what we felt at the time, and this is what we said in our manifesto. We have always sought to achieve liberation without bloodshed and civil clash. We hope, even at this late hour, that our first actions will awaken everyone to the realization that the disastrous situation which the nationalist policy is leading. We hope that we will bring the government and its supporters to their senses before it's too late, so that both the government and its policies can be changed before matters reach the desperate state of war.
Notice how the end part of that is getting ready for rebellion.
Did they?
I feel like yeah, because the apartheid structure dissolved as a direct consequence of pressure campaigns and also militancy, which Nelson Mandela not once but twice
what's Hamas doing
with
for
the option
liberation
of having his sentence commuted, which he refused to do. They said,
on principle,
Nelson Mandela,
bro.
if you disavow violence,
principle. He said, "I will not remain in jail because a prisoner can't negotiate. A prisoner can't decide."
Yes, that was the first
said
time.
no.
And in both
times he refused on principle. Less than 100 people died during the 20-year period. They never. Anyone that attacked civilians, they were disavowed. The ANC repeatedly apologized and disavowed violence against civilians.
When did they do that?
Less than 100.
They did that in the late 80s. What do you mean, when did they do that? Oh, does Hasan not think they did? What is he? Oh, please, Ethan, please. I hope he knows this.
100 civilians died.
When did
Hamas
they do that?
killed 1,000 civilians on one fucking day.
1,000 civilians?
Yeah.
The poor civilian Israeli soldiers that died in their military bases.
There was bro, you're so dumb.
1,000?
300.
What do you mean I'm so dumb?
Okay, how many civilians died? How many civilians died?
Oh, because it's what? Because it was more like 850? This was to answer Hasan's question. When? Who? When? Who? When? 1988. This is also in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission as well, if you want it. This was when the national executive of the ANC distanced themselves from attacks on civilians, spoke about operational difficulties. I think they also got rid of the political head of the military wing, the political commissar of the military wing. And yeah, they disavowed the attacks. They described it as like, they said that they wanted to pursue something that was even like more humane. Yeah. The Congress underscores that it is contrary to our policy to select target whose sole objectives is to strike at civilians. Our morality as revolutionaries dictates that we respect the values underpinning the humane conduct of war. Very much not like Hamas. Sorry. Whoops.
I believe the total number of casualties in October 7 was 1,200, with 800 being civilians, which is completely unacceptable.
Oh my God, I'm off by 100. I was off by 100. Oh my God, dude! I can't believe the historical inaccuracies.
Well, you just made a big. You're the one who's bringing up numbers here, Ethan. And yes, I do think it's
virtually
important to recognize something here that you are seemingly failing to recognize. Nelson Mandela was thrown in prison because he went and trained with the FLN in Algeria. The reason why he stayed in fucking prison was because
Ethan won't know. Did Mandela employ the same strategy as the FLN? The answer is no. The FLN actually did bomb the shit out of civilians. So yeah. And the French response was far more fucking mental than the apartheid South African response. So yeah, the FLN was kind of like on a different level in terms of how they what they thought was okay and what wasn't. But okay.
Because he refused to disavow violence, because he understood that as long as
sabotage is violence,
revolution
I didn't say he's a pacifist. I never said he's a pacifist.
Violent revolution is inevitable.
Yeah, and I never said he's a pacifist.
They did do.
He only knows how to debate someone who thinks that like there was either violence or non-violence. He only knows how to debate the imaginary fucking high school liberal in his head who thinks Nelson Mandela was a fucking like Gandhi just marching around with robes begging for peace. Like
You know what's funny?
In terms of the death and destruction on the apartheid structure, by the way,
Nelson
it is
Mandela
incomprehensible to compare that to Israel's violence against the Palestinians.
Was Nelson
what Israel has done to the
Mandela
Palestinians is far worse. And by the way, that's not my assessment. What Israel has done to the Palestinians for the past 76 years is infinitely worse.
Well, let's ask someone that lived through apartheid.
Before October set, like, again, man, black people in South Africa went through hundreds of years of colonization and getting caught up in wars and concentration camps and fucking blood, like people with fucking sticks and shields and swords, like trying to fight with people with guns. Like, fuck. Disease brought over by fucking colonizers. Jesus. Deportations of like millions of people by the apartheid regime to preserve demographics. It's not even, I don't know, like infinitely worse. I mean, if we're talking before October 7th, I wouldn't say it was infinitely worse, but okay, good job, yeah. So he will actually downplay everything to make the Palestinian situation seem worse. He will downplay the Holocaust, he'll downplay Jewish history in the Middle East and North Africa, and he'll downplay apartheid South Africa just to make his Palestine advocacy sound better. Like, fuck me.
The way that is the assessment of Mandela, and for all the for all of the moments that he was able to
fucking see. You think Mandela said
see.
What's happening is worse than what we went through? That's bullshit. Why would he say that? Hasan, you're a liar.
Why would he say that? Because it's true, Ethan. Okay. That's why.
Is Nelson Mandela a Zionist?
Yes, Nelson Mandela. Are you going to say in 1999 he said Israel has a legal right to exist?
More than that.
He said that the ANC has never doubted that right and they support it virulently. Not only that, vigorously. That's what they mean. They supported it vigorously. He also just said, like, this is from a speech in 1993. As a movement, we recognize the legitimacy of Palestinian nationalism, just as we recognize the legitimacy of Zionism as Jewish nationalism. And just so you know, if Ethan said this, they would call him a Zionist. I'm sorry.
You're in a fucking clip, champ.
Remember that you called this guy a neo-Nazi, not fit to be a dog catcher. That's what you said about Nelson Mandela.
What are you talking about? Whoa, you're jumping off like a million different points.
The right of Israel to exist as a state legally. We have stood quite openly and firmly for the right.
I don't know if Hasan's smart enough to do it, but the thing with Mandela is that because he was a very competent statesman, he also was very ambiguous on what exactly he thought was permissible in Palestine and what wasn't, because we know what he thought was like good strategy in South Africa, but on Palestine he was quite friendly with pretty much everyone. Like, he was very friendly with the PLO and a bunch of other militant groups. He was quite pally with people who were just full-on terrorists, even though he denounced those activities when they were committed by his own guys. But he also was trying to be as assuring as possible as he could to the Jewish community and to Israel as well. So he was very much a people pleaser, you might say.
Of that state,
but I don't know if Hasan even knows that.
Exist within secured borders.
You disagree with that statement?
Does Israel has a right to exist? Not in the way that it currently does.
Within secure borders.
Ethan, hold on.
Coward.
Do you know what he says after that clip?
Yeah, that he also thinks that Palestinians also need to be acknowledged, which, by the way, is my fucking point.
No, not that.
Palestinian liberation and Israeli borders are two sides of the same coin.
Ethan, he didn't just say Palestinians also need to be acknowledged.
What did he say?
He says that if peaceful means of coexistence is impossible, then violence is inevitable.
No one disagrees with that. You know that. You literally heard Ethan say that, but you didn't notice because you're too much of a fucking dribbling dipshit to fucking frat boy wrestling fan that you didn't even let him finish his sentence and just thought that Ethan believed that Mandela opposed all violence.
Ethan, why did you clip that out of the fucking clip, chimp, that you posted?
This is the guy that comes up to you. You're in your early 20s, okay? And he comes up to you, he's like, listen, listen. I know they told you in high school that Mandela was all kumbaya and a peace dove, but did you know that he participated in acts of militancy? And they're like, yeah, he did. Yeah, wow, it's crazy, chat. Yeah, I thought he just sat under a tree and meditated until apartheid ended. Thank you for informing me, Hasan.
inevitable, Ethan. Why did you clip that out of the fucking clip chimp
because
that
it's
you posted,
irrelevant.
Ethan?
Did you saying I clip chimp Nelson Mandela?
Yes, you literally did. You cut him out of context.
No,
because it doesn't
he's
suit
a
your fucking
Zionist. What do you
purpose.
mean? He's talking philosophically.
Yes, you just did.
He's talking philosophically.
You think it's irrelevant? We're having a conversation about Nelson Mandela and whether or not he actually believes in violence. Whether or not he actually believes in violence. You have said time and time again that he was a peaceful dove. He's never actually done any violence.
Literally hasn't.
There are numerous
not yesterday, not with or whatever it was, not with Sam Seder. He didn't. What's he saying?
instances on. There are numerous instances.
Inevitability, a philosophical warning, is not an endorsement. He was speaking as a warning to them, which was apt.
Brother, that is insane.
What?
Nelson Mandela was literally on a terror watch list since 2008.
Who gives a fuck?
What do you mean who gives a fuck? You like to use the terrorism watch list when you're talking about the Houthis, or you like to use the terrorist watch list when you're talking about Hezbollah.
I mean, I gave you
Hamas.
specific examples of why those organizations are bad.
Who do you think that was who do you think that was who do you think the philosophical point that he was making, the guy who was in prison for violent resistance, by the way, who trained
violent resistance? You mean sabotage?
Ready for rebellion, by the way.
Sabotage and giving government infrastructure.
Was a warning to? Do you think that was a warning to Palestinians, or do you think that was a warning to
the fact
Israel?
That you are
because
so
that
willing.
same Nelson Mandela has time and time again also repeated that no one is free until Palestine is free. That same Nelson Mandela that you're trying to fucking use in this situation has said that this is a united struggle, that Israel's actions against the Palestinians are abhorrent, that it is akin to what they have experienced in apartheid South Africa, if not worse. So the idea that you can make this comparison because you think it suits your fucking argument is so stupid. And the only way you can do that is by cutting it out of context.
No, I just explained why.
He's not listening.
Dude, I want Palestine to be free.
He needs Ethan to think that Mandela was a fucking kumbaya dove.
You know what? I don't think Hamas is furthering that goal. I think Hamas is counterproductive. They're making it worse. They're causing it to be inevitable. You refuse
Why are they making it worse?
You refuse to criticize them, which is pathetic. Unlike
Why are they
me,
making it
I'm
worse,
willing to
Ethan?
criticize the Israeli government. I'm willing to come to terms with the cruel reality. Hamas.
Walk through it. Why are they making it worse?
Why is Hamas making it worse, bro? Even the people in Gaza would tell you that. Yeah, what the fuck? Is that a serious question? Why are they making it? Well, let me think. They embedded their military infrastructure in fucking tunnels that scatter across the entire city. They convert every other fucking civilian institution you can think about into military bases, or like embedded them together. They refuse to they convince their people to stay put when Israel puts evacuation warnings. And then they launched an attack. They booby trap almost every other building. And then they went into Israel and fucking killed 1,200 people, and then went back into Gaza and said, yep, come gas. Fuck you. Abbas called them dogs. He called them sons of dogs, I believe.
Well, what was the fucking objective there on October 7th, genius?
Kidnapping, which, by the way, I don't even agree with, which is an international human rights violation. But kidnapping Israeli soldiers, Israeli civilians to make...
I thought it was a deterrent. Okay.
And what part about that was slaughtering fucking families in their homes?
Ethan, I don't agree with the tactics. You know this already. We're not relitigating this over and over again.
I'm just saying, Hamas is a bunch of fucking...
17 months of fucking genocide, okay? What do you think? What do you think?
One day you're going to watch a video response I make. One day.
Probably not, when you apologize for all the fucking harm that you've done.
Apologize? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Listen.
I have the rest of the clip that you clipped, Chip, by the way, if you want to hear his actual fucking full-fleshed opinion.
I'm not hiding from it. I literally acknowledge what he said. I don't care.
But so why did you say that he was actually why did you say that he was actually a peaceful?
He didn't say that. You fucking you lying. He's not listening. Whatever. He's not listening.
Resistance type of guy.
Say that? When the fuck did I say that, you liar?
You've said it on numerous occasions, as opposed to you said that on numerous occasions before someone told you, no, actually, here's a better way to massage that narrative.
I said he uses violent means such as sabotage. He didn't kill civilians. Ethan, that's what I said.
Will you stop talking if I show you numerous instances where you have said Nelson Mandela was peaceful?
I'm not gonna, are these going to be like a year old or something? In his talk with Sam Seder, he said he avoided violence against the citizens.
You get those together, okay?
I mean,
you're good.
Well, they exist now, don't they? Are they on Snark? Do they have them? Did he say it like a year ago?
You're gonna do great. You're gonna do great. Yeah, go ahead.
Ethan,
and grab
you literally
those.
said he was a pacifist.
I
Sam Seder.
never said Nelson Mandela was a pacifist.
Ethan,
that is an insane lie.
You said it to Sam Seder 2 days ago.
Oh no, he definitely didn't. This is why he didn't say he was a pacifist. Hasan's being. Wait, so he knows that I clipped him on this. He knows I clipped him on this, but let's look at it again. This is what you said to Sam Seder, by the way.
I have a terrorist order.
That Hamas. Mandela did think so. He explicitly stated that he avoided committing violence on the citizenry because it would make.
Yeah, you just let him finish the sentence. He said he avoided committing violence on the citizenry. Like, he means civilians. Yeah, that's true. They did avoid violence against civilians. Fuck me. It doesn't mean no civilians died, but come on.
So you got to watch that back because you're once again a liar. You have no problem lying. You have no problem saying that I work with the ADL without any evidence. You fucking have no problem discrediting the suffering of Jewish refugees.
Nelson Mandela is a pacifist.
Okay, well, prove it.
And the full quote, by the way, of Nelson Mandela is from when he visited Gaza in 1990.
And he said that use peace first and then go for violence, even though because he thinks the Great March of Return was them trying peace, obviously. This is horribly blurry. Thank you. ANC leaders like Mandela credit the Irgun for their restraint and executed it even better. Oh, you can't. Oh. What? It's okay. We don't need to look at that one. That one's not important. No one needs to know that.
That I was referring to. Choose peace rather than confrontation, except in cases where we cannot move forward. Then, if the only alternative is violence, we will use violence. Yeah. Does that sound like a pacifist to you?
He didn't say he was a. Oh my god, man! If I was Ethan, I would fucking. Oh no!
I meant that he didn't kill civilians. His approach is vastly different.
Target civilians, just say. Yeah.
Than what Hamas is doing.
Do you think Nelson Mandela would like what the Houthis are doing?
No.
I don't know.
No, he fucking wouldn't. No.
Fucking dig him out of his grave and ask him.
That's kind of weird because, I mean, you said he was doing peaceful means of resistance.
Do I think Nelson Mandela would be in favor of kidnapping 10 civilians? No, of course not.
Yes, he would.
Did Hasan say yes? He would. You fucking tool. Did they do that? Was it normal for the ANC to kidnap white people and hold them for a year? When did they do that? I didn't heard of that one. I heard about like there was a couple of bombings where they knew there would be civilian collateral, but the targets were military, and they did do that. But then that was very few and far between. Very few and far between. They dropped landmines in the ground because they thought, well, they might kill civilians, but they also can take out like tanks and military personnel. They stopped that though because they were not hitting their targets. They were mostly killing civilians. Peaceful resistance like sabotage. What a actual fucking brainworms.
100%.
All right, well,
they only fought soldiers in Rhodesia and Namibia. No, they fought soldiers in South Africa as well. Just not that many.
Well, while you're busy putting words in a dead man's mouth.
100% he would. What are you talking about? Nelson Mandela bombed the fucking church and shit. What are you talking about? Not Nelson Mandela directly in prison.
Yeah, not the first. The Church Street bombing. The Church Street bombing, again, was not targeting civilians. Okay. If he's talking about Church Street bombing, or is there like a church? Because the Church Street bombing was, I don't know, I think it's here. Truth and Reconciliation, Volume 6. Is that what he's talking about? Because this was outside, it was the Air Force, yeah, the headquarters of the South African Air Force. Unfortunately, it killed civilians, but this was because of poor fucking intelligence and like badly trained people, because literally the leadership was in exile. It's not easy to train a guerrilla movement. Yeah, the intended targets were members of security forces.
But fuck with civilians, bro.
This was the deadliest MK attack. It killed 19 people, including the 2 operatives. So really the attackers killed 17 people. This was the deadliest ever, and it was targeting personnel of the South African Air Force.
It's his thing. He wanted to be as peaceful as possible because he knew that if he killed and targeted civilians, it would make reunification impossible.
You're right.
That's
Israel's doing a genocide because Palestinians are not resisting
Less than
in the appropriate
100 civilians died in a 20-year period. I mean, what do you want more than that? Hamas killed 1,000 or 900. So sorry.
800. But also,
800. You're right. You know what?
Well,
That's better.
It's seemingly important. You're the one who's bringing up numbers. Now, what you again fail to recognize is, of course, the length. And not only that, but also the resistance against apartheid South Africa included military resistance on top of that. But that's not even my point here, okay?
Huh?
My point is that the apartheid in South Africa and the resistance against it was a far shorter period with far less casualties on the South African side as opposed to Israel's complete ethnic cleansing campaign that is that has started now, but even before its ethnic cleansing campaign.
Well, then don't compare Hamas to Nelson Mandela.
Because the situation is far worse, Ethan.
Does Hasan really think that if apartheid had gone on for a couple more decades, like Mandela would just resort to going to a fucking music festival and murdering 400 hippies? Like, is that really what? Not that, you know, South Africa was colonized since the 1600s, you know, but just give it 20 more years, you know, give it 20 more years. And then Mandela would be signing off on attacks against fucking kibbutzim and burning people alive in their houses. Let's go. And then Hasan would respect him more. Yeah.
And why because Israel has killed every Nelson Mandela. Israel would have probably killed Nelson Mandela if they had the opportunity to do so.
I'm sure. And they would have done everything bad that's ever happened in the world.
Which Nelson Mandela? Barghouti is in jail. Mandela went to jail. Barghouti is in jail because he led attacks against civilians. But what other? Salam Fayyad? Where is he? I don't know who these Palestinian Mandelas he's talking about are. Sinwar. I mean, it's funny because Israel released Sinwar from jail after he had murdered people. He murdered 4 Palestinians and 2 Israelis, and they released him from prison. What are you talking about?
Wait, do you know why I said that? No, don't look at your laptop. Do you know why I said that?
Wait, what's this?
Because Israel has killed every Nelson Mandela. Israel would have probably killed Nelson Mandela if they had the opportunity to do so.
I'm sure, and they would have done everything bad that's ever happened in the world.
Wait, do you know why I said that?
Why did you say that? Said what?
No, don't look at your laptop. Do you know why I said that?
Let me guess. You, I don't, tell me.
No, go ahead. Just throw up a guess.
All right, listen, it's 5 o'clock.
Such a fucking debate, bro.
Fuck, I'm not doing this, okay?
You
can tell me or you cannot.
Okay.
You want to? I'll
debate,
stand here if you want to tell me, but I'm not going to sit here and play rhetorical games.
Israel was aligned with South Africa, the apartheid government.
Yeah, I know. They made nuclear bombs with them. It's horrible.
Yeah.
What's that have to do with anything? Fuckhead.
Yeah, what does that have to do with the ANC being the same as, again, he's just a propagandist. It just sounds nice. Like his first principle is, oh, Israel bad. So he feels like he's winning because he just says Israel bad. Wow. Yeah, Israel supported apartheid. Yeah, fuck them for doing that. It was horrible. And so and Mandela condemned the Israeli government for that. Yeah. Rightfully so.
When did I defend that?
Well, they're both apartheids, so.
Yeah. And when did I deny that? All right.
How many Mandelas has Hamas killed? That's a really good question because, yeah, he would... Sinwar is the kind of person who would kill a Palestinian Mandela because they would consider them collaborators.
And it's 5 o'clock. Like I said, I have a family to go to. I have 3 kids and a wife, and I know that you have a fucking cool-ass race car bed to sleep in, and I hope you enjoy that. And
okay, man. Thank you. Have a good one. I hope this was productive. Dan, he needs you more than you need him. Stop babying this man, please. He needs you more than you need him. Stop babying him.
Well, I know that's true, but I don't baby him.
Come on. Okay. All right.
You want to target the crew more? You want to drum up her
It's fine. It's fine.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for the crew.
Hey,
they
Bad
are what
Empanada
makes the
called
show
AB
great.
a house slave.
What?
Bad Empanada called AB a house slave.
Yeah, he's wrong. What the fuck do you want?
Okay, well, you watch his videos a lot.
Why are you bringing up Bad Empanada?
I love that. He always turns it, yeah, he's wrong. What the fuck do you want him to do? Yeah, but I'll continue promoting him, though. I'll continue saying he's fucking awesome. Separate the art from the artist, eh?
Why do you think I agree with everything he says? No, of course not.
You endorse him.
It's an acceptable disagreement, you know, the fact that he wants to kill like all the Israelis. Wow.
Ethan,
all right,
I've
we gotta
endorsed
go.
his
You promote
YouTube
him all the
video
time. That's a
essays
fact.
that I agree with, that I think are very well thought out.
All right,
I don't
listen,
endorse
stop being a coward and watch some fair
opinions
criticism.
overall.
Please stop being a coward and just watch some criticism. It will prove that you are not afraid.
This was pretty good. This was pretty productive. You know, having this conversation, having this back and forth. Don't you think?
I actually do. I think you exposed yourself deeply a few times here, and I think we'll have to wait and see, obviously, how this pans out. But I do think it was productive to show just kind of the blatant, overt you know, anti-Semitism.
Maybe I will watch the Context Puke.
Yes, please, and then we can talk about it.
Maybe I will watch
the
Context Puke live, as a matter of fact,
please
not
do.
in a cowardly way. I like that this is what it's come to, where having a face-to-face conversation is less. Is somehow less fucking is more cowardly than like actually watching a YouTube video that you made.
It is.
No, dude. What's cowardly is you fucking constantly crying and refusing to actually look for context and putting together a
context. Let's go.
Putting together shit that you saw on fucking subreddits to be like, this is my argument. I'm destroying him.
Watch it and tear it up and show how out of context it was. I'd love that.
Don't worry. Maybe I'll actually do that to fundraise for the charities that you are actively targeting by trying to undermine and celebrate with Creator Clash 3, which is, I
don't know if you know this, but last year they lost $250,000. To be charitable, you actually have to give money to charity.
You fucking hate everybody that has even lightly fucking criticized you or stayed out of.
Are you surprised that I didn't like Ian's video?
What? No, dude.
Dude, if you want to own me, listen, Hasan. If you want to own me by donating to charity, I think that's fantastic. You're
gloating that a fucking charity event is actually like you're trying to undermine a charity event deliberately.
You have to give money to be charity. It's like a slush fund for them.
God, that's so gross, man.
I mean, what happened last year? How much money did they make? Did they do charity last year?
I don't know.
They lost $250,000.
Will you debate me again, Ethan, if you keep chirping in the future?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect.
But if you, I think it would be good if you watch the context puke,
maybe I will.
puke, and then we can discuss it.
Maybe I'll do that to fundraise for Creator Clash.
Yes, I think it's awesome. If you want to own me by donating to charity, I think that's sick as fuck.
Yeah, maybe you should do that too. You know, donate some pro-Palestinian charities. I'll feel so fucking owned.
Let's own each other and donate to charity.
All right.
I know you guys fucking. I know you guys hate each other, but the views were crazy.
It was. How many? I never looked.
Saying, think about it.
What was the views at? I never looked.
They're pretty good on both ends. Like 100K.
Whose was higher?
Listen,
don't ask that question.
I'm happy AB's happy and all this because he's probably suffered like one of the most. XQC thoughts.
But you have a say what happens in your Discord and chat, which you absolutely do not moderate. And there's so much evidence of the disgusting shit.
That's also completely fucking false.
Well, why did you criticize XQC for not moderating his chat when you called in?
Ethan, I can't believe you would.
Did you criticize XQC for not moderating his chat?
Yes, XQC has actively used this community over the course of many years at this point, as he was, doing Gamba and wanted to fucking keep gambling.
Hey! What?
To attack me. Okay?
What?
There's a difference between someone
that's
doing
different
that
than what you're.
Bro. Okay, bro, and I'm the Gamba schizo. How is this about Gamba?
How?
What?
How is that different than your community attacking me?
You want to know how it's different? I have an 8-minute clip compilation all the way from when our podcast ended, all the way.
Yo, just wait till you see the amount of banned phrases and 10 phrases that we got for Hasan's for just to be nice and play good faith, brother. Almost every Hasan combo on chat is a timeout.
To December of 2024, where I actively defend you. That is moderating my community.
Bro, I do not give a fuck about your quote-unquote defending as your community went rabid with your approval. Please spare me.
With my approval?
Okay, chat. Guys, you guys know for a fact, after all the Joma eras, chat, hold on. After all the Joma eras, chat, and the Among Us era, whatever, right? I've been one of the biggest advocates of like, guys, listen, I don't think you should hold the chat fully accountable, whatever, right? But I always give people some slack for not moderating and give people some praise for moderating, whatever. I'm gonna give it a buck. With everything I know and do, Hasan's chat is a fucking absolute one-sided war zone. The shit that people type in that mother sucker's box is awful. Almost everything that people are very strong about, opinions about, if you were to reverse the roles on any of these topics, if they would be perma-banned, not in his chat, on the platform. You reverse these takes, you replace let's say it's Jewish or whatever the fuck, with another component, any other component, they would get banned off the platform legitimately on almost every topic. It's actually insane. The shit people
It's your
type.
community, bro. You literally say in this clip.
Okay, that made sense.
Question.
Hasan's was higher?
Hasan's was higher.
Yeah.
Not by much, but it was higher.
That's not good. We got to do something.
I mean, I had 120,000. I don't know what you guys had over there. I wasn't looking, but
We got up to about
He
100.
was obviously looking, but
Okay, so
Well, we're going to have to do some. These people are clearly have some kind of brain disease, and we need to do something about it.
No, for sure. Ethan, please keep up the energy as though you feel that there is a genocide going on, because your output is what matters here. And that is what I was trying to get across to you and get across to your audience. If you think that
I acknowledge that I
why
can.
is he thinking he can take the fucking high road after he was just so fucking wrong on every single detail about the conflict that came up? The only parts of this debate that Hasan did well in was the fucking drama. Like, that's it.
I acknowledge that I could talk about it more, and I should make more of an effort to talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Instead of going after,
And you should try not to be a fucking
Stay in your lane, bro. Meanwhile, I'm going to tell people that the Iraqi Jews can all just go back. that's legal. It's not, and also that would be safe. It wouldn't be. Meanwhile, I'm going to tell my guys that go back to Poland is actually a very good faith offering from the PLO. Fuck's sake.
Being anti-Semite for a day.
What?
If you can try not to be a raging anti-Semite for a day, then we can shake hands.
Ethan, I don't think you actually believe that I'm anti-Semitic. I think you're.
No, you are. Like, he's proved it in like 20 different ways in this debate. He is. He's a fucking Jew hater. Yeah. I don't know if he means it. I don't think he does, but he is. He does it. He does Jew hatred. Sorry, go back to Iraq. Fucking shaheed yourself. Fucking hell.
You should watch back the first part of this interview.
Go back to Iraq.
What?
You should watch back the first part of this interview. That is.
I don't think that makes you look good.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I think your people are going to think it makes you look good, and then everybody else is going to think that might look good. Like, who gives a fuck? At the end of the day,
I'm sure.
It's not a swastika. It's just the swastika sword. It's not a swastika. It's just the sword that I called the swastika sword. Got it. All right. Have a good night, Hasan.
All
Go
right.
back to
I
Iraq.
gotta go. All right,
You too, buddy.
You take care, bud.
All right.
Old friends, together at last.
bye, Hasan.
Give Kaya our love. Give Kaya our love.
Yeah, we all still love Kaya.
Oh my God, what a fucking train wreck. I was hoping that I shouldn't have hoped that he would have been more open to listening, but I guess that's what it was meant to be.
It is what it is.
I'm so tired.
How long was that going on for?
5 hours.
4 hours and
We're
15
going on
minutes.
5 hours here.
Was I owned?
I need to process everything that just happened. My head.
Not a good showing from Ethan. I literally just heard the largest progressive political streamer on Twitch, anywhere really, say that Iraqi Jews should just go back to Iraq. I can't believe I heard that. That's just. If anyone wants to go and clip that, I want to put that on Twitter. It's so baffling. Yeah, I feel you, Dan. I feel you.
Head spinning.
Another fucking fever dream.
I was starting to lose, like, at the end tail of that. It's like, dude, I can't do it.
I could tell you were fading a little bit.
I think I got him. Honestly, I think I got him pretty good. The way that he was, like, denying obvious, blatant shit and being like, no, that's not. No, you're insane. You're hallucinating it. It's like, bro. That's crazy talk.
That's crazy, chap.
I also liked how he whatever. People will analyze this.
Yeah,
I'd
say both sides got the clips they wanted. That's the end.
That's kind of the thing, right? Is like anything. Both sides declare victory, and nothing really changes. So what can you do?
Just keep doing it because the views are great, right, Hasan? Hasan's got to eat.
I'm just saying.
He's got to pay. He's got to pay for that chicken and someone to make it for him too.
Uh-oh. Lonerbox should put more of his energy back into the IP conflict in general. Yeah, I think that's probably where I want to focus. Like, Russ Cheney, thanks for the $200, man. My God. Holy hell. I'm so humbled. I'm dying here, man. You're making good work of me. Moving house is much easier now, eh? Well, shit. Hell yeah. Holy shit. Okay. I do have some receipts to read, I guess. Fan funding. Okay. First of all, Russ Cheney, thanks for the $200. I really appreciate that. Dave Gunner, thanks for the $4.99. Lonerbox, I watched The Content Deputy. It's almost worse than The Content Cop. He literally blames the CPS on Ethan and crashes out at the end. Yay! I love it when everyone's mentally ill. Let's go. Now I can eat dinner tonight. Yeah. Garrett Metting, thanks for the $5. Tell all the LGBT people in red states that Harris is as bad as Trump. The US left would be way better off without Hasan being the top commentary face. What should Palestinians in the West Bank do right now? Dismantle settlements, bully them back into Israel with peace and love, or block their roads and be clear about what you want with a couple of
airstrikes. Bomb them.
JF Pose, thanks to the $4.99. Keep up the good work, Mr. Box. I will. Joan, thanks to the $4.99. You deserve a Nobel Prize for listening to Hasan. My blood pressure has skyrocketed. It is pretty insane. Yeah. Would you ever make videos more sock them in the future? Yeah. The next, if I do videos again, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to be like pretending to be, yeah. Like, I already have like a semi-script on why the fucking pager attack was legal. So that might be a good one to shed the old skin, you know? To shed an old layer. New year, new me. It feels like the majority of people are on Hasan's side. Why do you think that is? I genuinely don't get it. Because Palestinian there are two camps, okay? And neither of them are really what they say they are. One calls themselves pro-Israel, when what they actually are is justify everything Israel does because we are so fucking defensive that we don't think we should concede anything, even when the IDF commits war crimes. And then there's the other side, which calls themselves the pro-Palestinian side, when what they actually are is the pro-Axis side. They just want Palestinians to keep on fighting fucking aimlessly so that more of them keep dying, and it gives people something to report on in Al Jazeera. But unfortunately, the latter camp, the pro-Axis people, are just much better at aesthetics, rhetoric, branding, everything. The pro-Israel people are just kind of embarrassing. Bright Yellow Pants, thanks for the €10. What side are you on? I hate both sides. I hate both sides, and I love both sides for the citizenry. I think they're good. They're fine people on both sides, you know? And I feel like entrenched narratives kind of fucks them both pretty hard. Obviously, it fucks the Palestinians more, but yeah. JX292 with a $9.99. Hasan is just like Trump, making his opponents argue the most insane bullshit and lies until they're exhausted. Then they will concede just a bit towards Hasan's side. You're awesome, Lonerbox. Hey, thanks. Jack Esposito, thanks for $4.99. I used to think Zionist meant expanding Israel as a Jewish ethno-state. After October 8th, I see it as wanting Jews to be safe. Now I'm a Zionist with a cap Z. What is a cap Z? Jesus. Moth Romance, thanks for the $4.99. Lonerbox is rising and the tankies are cowering in fear. I don't think they care. Hasan is like Iran in this community and his metaphorical Hezbollah proxy he sends out, so he has plausible deniability when they do insane things. Oh. Teuton, thanks for the tier 4 sub. I really appreciate that. Rosie Orozco, thanks for the 5 gifted memberships. Hey, Sludge, thanks for the tier 2 sub. Joan, thanks for the $14.99. Keep up the great work. Proud of you. That's so kind of you. Jesus. Thistle Milk, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Wade Lockhart, thanks for the $5. This was the real creator clash all along. Suejon Mayers, thanks for the $5. Hasan, stop victimizing these poor victims. Stop dehumanizing these poor victims. Sorry. I did say this, especially now that this drama is kind of peaking. I did say that I do plan on saying and doing a lot of things that are going to make a lot of the Israeli people in this audience very fucking uncomfortable and annoyed and mad, okay? Because the fact that Israel is still not allowing aid into Gaza, the fact that what's happening in Syria is not stopping, despite the fact that the Syrian government still have not attacked Israel. Yeah, I don't know. And that Trump's fucking blank check is basically just, was it power doesn't corrupt, it reveals? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna I think there are a lot more important things right now that the Israeli government, like my country's ally, is doing that is making me really fucking angry right now. And it's actually worse than anything in terms of impact than what Hasan does. So yeah, I don't know. I'll walk and chew gum at the same time, but God. OB24, thanks for 30 shekels. I can't wait until the part where Hasan uses the fact that one of the rescued hostages was raped by a gym coach in Israel to show how Israeli society is sick while still denying the October 7th rapes. Asshole. Yeah, what was the point in that? What, like rapes happen in Israel too? Yeah, of course they do. It's like every other nation on earth. People get raped, yeah. OB24, thanks to tier 1 sub. Jack-O-Lantern, thanks to tier 2 sub. Hasan really needed a 4-star general in this debate. Yeah, it would have helped. Emma implied Ethan was on drugs on leftist mafia. I think I'm going to cancel my Majority Report membership. Whoa. Hey man, Chris Kunzler dropped another video on you the other day. Will you bring him back on, even for the memes? No, fuck that guy. Kurdstar, thanks for the £10. Absolutely superb stuff, Loner. Dude, you are officially in Hasan's head. It's weird that that clip is in his head, but he still didn't realize how wrong he was about it, how he fucked it up. But yeah, I don't know. Fucking, I've unlocked a new life achievement. Like, I really did just watch the biggest left-wing streamer on Twitch say that Mizrahi Jews could like just go back to Iraq if they wanted to. That's wild. That's a bit much. Why is the Great March of Return inconsistent with Mandela's practice? Because they were they were not targeting security forces. They were targeting security forces with the purpose of getting through to civilian communities. They literally had maps of how to get to the kibbutzim. And also, what was the end goal? People forget the end goal. The goal of it's not just the action. You have two things. You have the action and the outcome. For ANC, the action was to make apartheid ungovernable. The goal was to have an equal society for both groups. The goal for the March of Return was to reclaim all of historic Palestine. That's not a legit goal. What's your evidence that they were planning to carry out attacks on the civilians in the GMR? First of all, Sinwar's words, but also the Human Rights Report even showed you that they were passing out, they were publishing directions for how to get to Kibbutz Kfar Aza, or one of the closer ones. Or I think that was the close one. They were unarmed. Little do you know that you can't, mostly, yeah, the ones with the big fence cars and the knives and machetes, mostly. Okay, bro. Wait, am I wrong? Sorry, am I wrong? Mandela would have... I don't know if he would have. Mandela, on his like broader politics, was kind of like ambiguous because we don't really know. Because he said Israel had a right to exist and Zionism was legitimate and the Jewish state was legitimate and he urged Arab nations to recognize the Jewish state. So the thing with the March of Return is that the purpose of that was to move into Israel and just kind of stay there. Like, what do you... And they literally say, like, Hania and the people who were, like, the leaders of Hamas at the time, and again, a disproportionate amount of people leading the marches to the fence were Hamas. They were saying, we're going to break down the barrier and just, like, claim all the land. The actual goal, by the way, the actual goal was just to fucking get some people killed for optics. That's what the actual goal was, but, you know... Unless they're just very stupid and they genuinely thought they were going to be able to break through and just kind of hang around. Yeah, on the 14th of May, the deadliest march, there were calls on social media to breach the fence and reach civilian communities. Yeah. Unless you believe this is just the first time ever where Hamas decided that we're not actually going to target civilians this time. Silly. Hang on. Where is that part? 14th of May. Where's the full section on it? Where's the contents page on this? I don't even know what you're trying to do, Time Factor. I don't know what you're trying to do. I can only tell you what Mandela did in his own country and what he thought was acceptable and what he thought wasn't. And I can very easily, and you can as well, you know this is the case. His tactics were different from anything any Palestinian militant group has done. Just because he was friendly with some of them doesn't mean he endorses all of their fucking actions. It's the extreme end of non-violence for unoccupied people. You're an idiot then. You just don't know anything about the March of Return. You're a fucking moron. Israel is a sovereign state with a right to defend itself. And if another group of people which contains one half of an armed conflict, is trying to breach your border fence, you have a right to defend it. It is not a legitimate goal. It's not a legitimate goal to try and infiltrate a sovereign state. Sorry. Where's the contents page? There's a really weird part of this report where they try to say that they try to make the legal argument for Israel being occupied, and they show you this like 3-part test, which includes like the ability to establish governance like fairly quickly within the region, and then but all the citations that they use to prove that Gaza is occupied under the 1907 Hague Convention is just not there. Like the citations don't actually give you anything. Very weird. But where's the fucking 14th of May? Fuck. Oh, I'm on the short report. I'm an idiot. Okay. That's the short report. Let's go for the full one. Thank you. Okay, communities. Yeah, this was prior to the deadliest one, that there were calls on social media for demonstrators to breach the fence and reach Israeli communities. And again, Hamas admitted that like 50 of the 62 people who died this day were their own guys. At least 25 of them were just full-on Al-Qassam soldiers. So yeah, I think this is not a legitimate goal. It's not. Sorry. What do you want me to say? It's not a legitimate goal. You don't get to just unilaterally break through a fucking border of a country that is part of an armed conflict against the people. Stop saying unarmed, you fucking liar. They had fucking machetes. All right, hang on. You're getting banned. Find them. Quick, before it's too late. The report's 250 pages, okay? I've read it. I've criticized it. I've scrutinized the footnotes. I've watched quite a lot of the videos. I've checked the Hamas websites. You haven't. You got 24 hours. Come back when you've taken time to actually learn what the fuck you're talking about. Go away. Sorry, I'm being very snarky right now. I only give them 24 hours. They've got time. I think that Sam Seder react was too long. We're going to need to do shorter, broken up segments for the Ethan Hasan debate. Whoops. All right, hang on. Would you ever debate Sam Seder? Yeah, sure. Not on the majority report, though, because they do the thing where they control the microphone and it's a short call and whatever. Yeah, I'd have him on my stream. Yeah. Who's Rezi? Do I like him or not? I can't remember. Oh, no. Do we like Rezi or not? I've forgotten. I'm just trying to think of who to raid out to. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I need to send you to my own video because I think I uploaded it at a really bad time. Or it was too long. Or everyone watched it live. One of those. All right, here. Go here. Go watch this, okay? Give it a little boost. Watch that video, okay? That's a good segment. Stardust did really well on that one. Poggers. All right. Love you guys. I'm going to have some spaghetti. Okay. Bye. Bye.